8:45, quarter till 9, Tommy Tucker, WWL. It is the first day of June, the first day of hurricane season. We've already had one named storm out in the Atlantic, and let's hope, I know it's a lot to hope for, but let's hope that's all there is, or whatever we have stays out in the Atlantic away from everybody and affects none of us. We can hope. We're talking about now kids' vaccines. And where do we stand with the CDC and what kids should get vaccinated and who shouldn't? Because it can be terribly confusing. And John Schieffelin joins us right now, an associate professor of pediatrics and internal medicine with Tulane School of Medicine. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. I think there has been so much back and forth with the entire COVID situation and vaccination thing. I think people might be confused because I know if I had a child, I don't think I would know exactly who should get it, who shouldn't. Mine's 24 and is fully vaccinated. So talk to us about that, doctor, if you will. Where do we even start if we have kids to figure out if the vaccine is right for them and what vaccine it should be?
Sure. I totally agree. There's a lot of confusion going around. There always these days is a lot of confusion with vaccines. I think the first thing I would say that any vaccine that is available, whether it's to adults or to children, is safe. Even though these vaccines have been, really developed very quickly, and we've seen results of the human studies come out very quickly. No shortcuts have really been taken, and the companies and the FDA have really worked very hard to make sure that these vaccines are not only effective, but also safe. So back to your question of who...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I hate to, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but I hate to bring stuff like this up because you don't want to draw more attention to it, but yet you also want to surface it and address it, right? So when it comes to the FDA approval and people saying, well, I'm not going to get it and I wouldn't dare get it for my child until it's FDA approved, explain where we are in that process with FDA approval, because I think that's kind of being misrepresented by some people.
You are absolutely correct. So there are a couple of different ways that the FDA can approve something. They can give what we call full approval, which is what we're used to getting with our vaccines and our all the drugs that we use we get prescriptions for through our physicians. And then there's something called emergency use authorization, which is what these vaccines have. And the reason why they have emergency use authorization instead of full approval is that the FDA just does not consider they have been around long enough to meet their criteria for full approval. And what that really means is the FDA requires that people who have gotten a vaccine or a new medication be followed for a minimum amount of time, usually at least a year, to make sure that they know exactly how long the protection lasts in terms of a vaccine, and to make sure that no side effects pop up way down the road. So that's why these vaccines don't have full approval. They just haven't been around long enough. But the FDA still looks at all the data that is available in terms of the safety and efficacy in the short term and has concluded that these are safe and effective to use right now in this pandemic emergency situation that we're in.
If I may speak in layman's terms, doctor, if there would be a problem with all of the vaccinations that have been given already, we would for damn sure know it by now, would we not?
That is absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct. Yeah.
Feel free to use that phrase again if you like.
If I may jump in real quick, there are lots of rumors going around about these vaccines because it's a new type of vaccine, and are they going to genetically modify us after we get it? And the way these vaccines are designed, they cannot do that. There is, after a couple of days, there is absolutely no vaccine component left in your body.
Doc, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I know a lot of parents that are saying, well, wait a minute, if my child has very little risk of getting sick, why would I even get him? Getting seriously ill, why would I even get him vaccinated? And we can talk about that when we come back, because I know there's a very valid reason for it, and I would ask you to please stay tuned and listen to what the doctor has to say when we come back here on WWL. It's 8:50, 10 till 9. Let's take a look at traffic. 8:55, 5 before 9 here. We're trying to clear up some confusion on WWL about vaccinating your kids against COVID, because there has been a lot of information. There has been some misinformation. I think the CDC could have maybe handled this better throughout the entire thing. But that was then. This is now. John Schieffelin is our guest, Associate Professor of Pediatrics and Internal Medicine with Tulane School of Medicine. So, Doctor, before we went to the break, I said if a parent is thinking to themselves, well, my kid's got limited little bitty chance of getting sick anyway, why should I get them vaccinated? Your response would be?
My response is, well, there are a couple of reasons why we should all get not only ourselves, but our children vaccinated. First of all, even though the majority of children handle this infection just fine, there are a small percentage of children that do actually get quite ill and require hospitalization with it. So we need to protect those kids. And very difficult to predict which children are going to become ill and require hospitalization. So we recommend vaccinating all of them. But probably the more practical reason is that we need to protect all the people around us, including their children's parents and their grandparents and extended family. And I like to think of this as really like an extended family community effort, that by vaccinating the children, those children are actually decreasing the risk of the older people around them from getting infected. So they sort of help serve as a blanket to protect our parents and our grandparents and aunts and uncles and all those who are more susceptible to severe disease with COVID-19.
So the age range is 12 and up, or
Correct.
Below that?
So right now, for children, there is one COVID vaccine produced by Pfizer that is available for children 12 to 15 years old. The other big vaccine that most people have heard of, the Moderna vaccine, probably will be available for that same age group soon. And both of those companies are also doing studies right now to make sure that that vaccine is safe and effective for children starting at 6 months of age. So for those children, the 6 months and up, that probably, we won't see that approval probably until early 2022.
Is there any indication at all that there is any risk for kids from 12 to 17 getting this vaccination, and how effective is it in children of that age?
So in the Pfizer study just released their results in the New England Journal of Medicine last week. In their study, they enrolled just over 2,200 children, and half of them got the vaccine, half of them got a placebo, and it was found to be 100% effective. In other words, no children in the vaccine group got COVID-19, and I believe about 16 or 17 children in the placebo group got infected. So it's very effective. In terms of its safety, it is shown to be just as safe in that 12 to 15-year-old age group as the 16 and older age group. It does have some side effects, just like any vaccine, but most of those are, things like a low-grade fever, a little bit of a headache, fatigue. Those usually last less than 24 hours in children in this study. A little more likely to happen after the second dose than the first dose, but again, it only lasted about less than 24 hours. I can tell you from personal experience, my son got his first dose last week. He just felt a little sleepy and tired and went to bed early that night and was right as rain the next morning.
Thank you, Doc. We'll be back, WWL.